In this video, we are going to be creating a React component using React hooks. We are specifically going to be focusing on the React state hook. Hooks were introduced in React in version 16.8. They let you create stateful React components without using classes. A hook is a special function that allows you to hook into React features. useState is a hook that allows you to add React state to function components. Hooks can make your large projects easier to understand and maintain. Lifecycle methods such as component did mount and component did update are no longer going to be necessary. To get started, we are going to be creating a new React project. We can do this using npx. From your terminal, type npx create React app, and then we'll call it React hooks examples. So once that's completed, we just need to cd into our new directory and start yarn. So now we just need to remove this boilerplate. So first let's open up a new tab here on our terminal, go into our new project, and we'll open this up in our editor. So if you've ever used create React app before, you might be pretty familiar with our directory structure here. So what we first need to do is just remove the boilerplate from our app.js file. So let's go into app.js and let's just delete all of this code. Now we have a blank slate that we're working with, and let's delete this logo as well. And we're also not going to need this CSS file, so we can just get rid of that as well. Now we're going to add in Bootstrap using a CDN. So I can just copy it here. And inside of our index.html file, we can now put in our Bootstrap. Now we can just add in our Bootstrap CSS here, and we should see, let's try this out. We should see that reflected on our so we're now seeing the styles reflected inside of here. We're just doing this so we could have some simple CSS styling without having to worry about doing any CSS on this. Well, now that we have an empty starting point, let's create a new component and add it into our example app. So inside of our src directory, let's create an examples folder. And we're going to create a new file, and we're going to call that statehook.jsx. And we're just going to create a simple component here. So import React from React. And you're going to export a default function, statehook. Now we're just going to return a div. And we'll have a simple form group, and our form group is just going to have a button inside of it, and the button is going to have a class name of btn and btn primary and btn-block, and then we're going to call that increase as a placeholder. So we don't expect any functionality to actually occur yet. This is just a simple placeholder component using some stuff that you should be pretty familiar with by now if you've ever had any exposure to React. So now we're going to add this component into our app component. So now inside of app.js, let's bring in our new component. You can auto import that. And let's see how that looks. Okay. So actually, let's just add a little bit of styling here, inline styling, so that we can see what we're working with. Let's add margin top, and we'll have 60 pixels margin top. So that should push our button down a little bit. Okay, great. That's a good place to start. So now we have a blue button on our screen, and this is just done using Bootstrap, so there's nothing really new here. This is all stuff that should be pretty familiar by now. And if you're writing class-based components, our statehood example is going to look a little bit different. than what you're used to, but it's not that strange when you break it down. So instead of having a render method, we are just returning some simple JSX, and that's going to be all that's different so far. So now we're going to add in our first hook, and that's going to be useState. So here at the top line, right next to import React, just add comma useState inside of curly brackets, and then within our component, we just add const square brackets count comma set count, and that's going to be equal to useState, and we're passing in 0. So what exactly is going on here? We're taking the useState hook and we are passing in a default value of 0. The useState hook is then returning a pair of values. These are the current state and the function that will update this state. So count is our state, and set count is the function that will update our state. If we want to update our current count, we're going to have to use this new function called set count. To reference the count, let's add a paragraph tag below our form group, and we'll just say you have clicked, and then within curly brackets, count times. So you have clicked 0 times. So now that we're displaying our count, which is 0, remember that. Now that we're displaying our count at 0, we're going to just need to update our state. So to update our state, on our button element here, we'll just add a new line break, and we'll say on click, we want to call set count to count plus 1. So that's the current count value, and then add 1 to it. Now when we click on our button, we're going to see our updated count reflected. So you can see it updating here. What exactly is going on here? Now we just need a quick breakdown of what we've done here and what's specific to React hooks. First, we're importing the useState hook from React here. This allows us to use local state in our function component. So this is our function component of state hook, and this is our React hook that we're importing. So first we're importing the useState hook from React, and this is allowing us to use local state in our function component. So this is our function component. Next, we're declaring a new state variable using the useState hook. We are initializing our count state to 0 by passing it in as the one and only argument to useState. And we are then naming our function, which updates our count state as set count. So this is our count state. We're initializing it, and this is our initialized value is 0, and we're naming our function, which will update it to set count. We're also going to be updating our count when someone clicks on our button. We're calling set count with a new value. React is then re-rendering our state hook component. So this is our functional component, our function component that we've created called state hook, and it's re-rendering this using a new value of count. The naming of our variable count and our updater function set count is not something specific to just React hooks. useState is just returning 2 items as an array. The first is the value, and the second is the value that allows us to update this value. We call this variable and this function whatever we like. So we can use click, or we can call it press, we can call it counter, or anything else that we like. I hope this makes it a little bit more clear what's going on with our useState hook. And for more training videos like this, be sure to visit statcast.com. We have a React.js course that will walk you through everything you need to know to become a React developer. You can also find the link to this course along with a special discount code in the link below. Also, if you like this video, be sure to subscribe for more React.js and JavaScript training videos. Thanks for watching.